Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for end users on how to achieve a no spam inbox. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. And thank you for joining us today. I'm Yamini Durai from the Zoho Mail team, and I'm excited to be sharing some tips and tricks that can prevent you from becoming a victim to spam emails. And I will also be exploring spam prevention options available within your mailbox. So let's start by playing a game. Can you spot it if you are being fished? I'm going to explain your situation, and once you have a grasp of it, just think about your course of action. So, the first question: you receive an email from LinkedIn offering you premium subscription for free. What do you do? Do you check the from address or click the unsubscribe text and get rid of more spam emails like this? Or unlock the free subscription and enjoy? Well, if you selected the answer, check the from address, it's amazing because in most of the cases, the from addresses usually gives away if an email is legitimate or not. If you have selected the unsubscribe text and get rid of more spam like this, then you might be in for more and more spam emails in the future. Just to be clear, we haven't decided whether this email is spam or not. But if in case it is spam and you click the unsubscribe text, you would have confirmed the deliverability of your email address to the spammer. So, what does that mean? Most of the times, a spammer wouldn't know whether your email address is legitimate or not. This is due to the brute force method being one of the ways spammers randomly generate email addresses. But the catch is, until the recipient interacts with the email, they wouldn't know if the email address exists. One of the techniques they use to get recipients to interact with the email is the unsubscribe option. While it should be unsubscribing you from the emails, it actually subscribes you to their permanent database. So until you know more and know for sure if it's from a legitimate sender, don't click that unsubscribe button. If you have selected unlock the free subscription and enjoy option, then you might have just given in to the whims of social engineering techniques harbored by the scammers. Being careless in situations like this can cost you money, data, security, and privacy. So always be skeptical when you receive something for free via your email. You never know who it is behind the scene. So, with this new information now, every one of you would definitely select check the from address course of action. But if you notice the from address seems to be clear and legitimate, what do you do now? Do you ignore the email or unlock the free subscription and enjoy because it's legitimate now? Or do you check the link address? Well, if you ignore the email, while you might not be affected if it was a spam, you might still be missing out on a great offer if it is actually from the legitimate sender. And if you choose to unlock the subscription, you might be giving to who knows what information to the spammers. The ideal choice would be to check the link address. Kudos to everyone who was aware and selected the right choice. In situations like this, the browser is your best friend. Simply hover over the button or any hyperlinked object to see the link attached to it in your browser's left hand side bottom corner. This allows you to know if the link attached to the email is legitimate or not. If you see the link here, it is now clear that the email was not sent by LinkedIn and was in fact a phishing email from a different domain. So, what is phishing? To simply put, phishing is when you receive an email from what looks like a legitimate sender. They would copy everything to look like the company they imitate. When I say they copy everything, I mean they could create emails with the organization's logo, color palette, font style, and everything to look exactly like the institution they are disguising. You can take our first screenshot as example. If you see an original LinkedIn email, then it would look exactly the same. This is why a lot of people fall victim to the tactics of phishing. But the only savior of phishing is that it uses social engineering techniques to maneuver users into interacting with the scam content. Social engineering methods require the recipient to interact with the email as the scammer planned and go through the trap they designed for the user to fall through so that they can get money or data. However, the question remains, how did the spammer send an email via LinkedIn's domain? Because if you see the email address that is in the from section, it has linkedin.com domain. Well, this is not hacking or anything of that sort. This concept where one sends an email exactly imitating another email address and username is called spoofing. Email addresses spoofing is done by exploiting a minor flaw in the way any email is sent. SMTP service, which is responsible for delivering emails to the users across the globe, does not authenticate to confirm ownership of an email address. That means a spammer can give in any address as a from address or reply to address, even the email addresses that they don't own. There are two things that can happen to a user with respect to email spoofing. The user can receive an email from the scammer in the name of someone they know. Could be your CEO, CFO, a colleague, or anyone for that matter. And on the other hand, imagine a situation where your email address end up as the from address and the reply to address of a spoofed email. And one of the unexpected results when your email address gets spoofed is email backscattering. You might suddenly start receiving tons and tons of replies and bounce messages for an email you didn't send. It could leave you confused and can even make you believe that your email account has been hacked or compromised. But that is usually not the case. It's just a spammer exploiting your email address for their benefit to trick users you might know or may not know. You can prevent this from happening by asking your admin to configure SPF, DKIM, and DMARC for your organization's domain. Please refer to our previous webinar on spam to know more about these protocols. Now, let's continue with the next question. You receive an email from someone named Steve. The email gives you access to a file named Investment Opportunities. So, what are you going to do? It comes with TLS security, so do you think it's authentic? Are you going to check the file to see if there's anything fishy? Are you going to check out the from address and reply to address? Well, one of the surprising facts of spam and spoofed email is that they could be coming in with TLS security as well. TLS security doesn't mean that the email is authentic and legitimate. So, if you took that as a means to consider an email to be authentic, then you could be at a loss. And if you decided to check the file to see if there's anything fishy, well, the pun was intended, then you might have just clicked on a link that could compromise your email security. The right thing to do would be to check out the from address and the reply to address. This way, you will actually notice something different. The domain of the from address and the domain of the reply to address doesn't match. While this kind of mismatch is not alien to authentic emails, it is definitely a red flag when it comes from a source you're not sure about. So let's keep going. You identified the domain's mismatch, that there is a different domain in the from address and there is a different domain in the reply to address. What is your next step? Are you going to open the file for further information? Or are you going to hover over the link in your browser to see where it leads to? Well, if you choose to click the link and open the file, you still run a big chance of getting phished and giving into the social engineering mechanism of the scammer. And if you hover over the link, you can be definite, like we discussed before, whether the email is spam or not. So let's see. There we go. The link leads you to a different domain. Checking until the end of the domain is very essential because right here, while it might look like this email came from WorkDrive would never use a domain that is kdsh.com. So it's always important to check whether your emails or whether your links are leading you to the right domain. If you got it wrong, don't worry. Yes, it is a phishing email, but the purpose of this exercise is to train you on identifying spam emails. And you're not doing it wrong. If you are doing it in itself, then you are getting a step ahead each time you try. So don't be disheartened if you got it wrong. Now that you know that the email is a spam, what do you do? Do you ignore the email, or are you going to mark it as spam or report it as a phishing email? When you ignore the email, it is true that you are not interacting and falling in the trap that a spammer designs for you. But doing when you're not interacting with the email by marking it as spam or phishing email, what you're not doing is that protecting and preventing yourself from future spams. That is why one of the best things you could do in the fight against spam is marking an email as spam and report it as phishing. Why so? Because using these options does two things. The emails that come from the same sender will now be automatically moved to the spam folder of your mailbox. Now that you have protected yourself by marking the email as spam, you have become a part of something even bigger. Spam filtering is mostly based on community data. That means we keep a note of how a user is feeling about an email, and then when they mark something as spam, we note it down as well. So, when more people do the same, the reputation of that particular sender keeps reducing. And in the end, spam filters will automatically filter such emails as a spam email or phishing email, not just for you, but for all the users. So make sure from now on you mark your emails as spam or phishing and take part in the bigger fight. All right, then, let's get to our next question. Let's see how many of you get this right. You receive an email from your long lost friend asking you to check out a poem that you wrote during the school days. You check the from address and it seems to be authentic. You look for anything wrong, but there isn't any. What do you do? Do you download the PDF and check? Or do you view the PDF in the Zoho Mail's inbuilt view? For everyone who selected to view the PDF in the Zoho Mail inbuilt view, you are right. PDFs can carry malwares that can affect your device. So, by not downloading it to your computer and viewing it in the browser protects you from getting infected. So, always take the help of the inbuilt viewers and only download the files to your device if you trust the contact completely. Let's move on to the next question. You receive an email from Zoho Mail warning you about new login activity. It requests you to change the password if it wasn't done by you. Is this email a phishing email or legitimate email? Good eyes to everyone who spotted that this was in fact a phishing email. Because if you look at the from address closely, you would notice that the email is from zohomail.com and not zoho.com. This is what we call sister domains or cousin domains, where the domain of the email address is specifically designed to fool the users and is kept very similar to the authentic ones. It can easily cheat your eyes in a quick scan. So always take a relaxed look. And it's important to know which email addresses your providers ideally use for a given situation. For example, Zoho Mail does not send warning emails from zohomail.com but rather from zoho.com. Being equipped with this information will help you in identifying the difference between an inauthentic sender and an authentic sender, avoiding you the hassle and loss of getting phished. And we are towards the end of a quiz. Here is your last question. You receive an email from Michelle Obama asking you to donate some money for a community reprisal. You check the email address and it seems to come from an authentic Obama organization email address. What do you do? Do you check the link to see if it's authentic or donate immediately because it's Michelle Obama asking for help? Well, while the urge to help is generally very high when a figure we love and adore asks for help, it's important to take your time and check the facts before you go into it knee length. And if you hovered over the link, you would see that you were unfortunately being phished and spoofed. This is a complicated spoofing similar to the first example where both the username and the domain name has been spoofed. So never be sure even when you see that the domain is right because even the domain address can be spoofed. Now that we have learned how to spot a phishing or spoofed email, it is time for us to check out the features Zoho Mail offers for your protection. Apart from marking an email as spam or phishing, you can also maintain your own anti spam list. Let me show you a demonstration. Once you log into Zoho Mail account, click the settings icon in the right hand side of your screen. In there, navigate to anti-spam lists. Now you will see two different lists, allow list and block list, trusted list and rejected list. The difference between allow list and block list and trusted list and rejected list is that allow list and block list email addresses will still go through certain spam checks, and in case of failing them, they will end up in the spam section. But with respect to trusted list and rejected list emails, they don't go through any spam check. That means once you add an email address here, we will directly deliver the email to your inbox without doing any kind of check at all. This is a very powerful feature, and so make sure you only use it for email addresses you know for sure are authentic. You can also add domains to your allow list and block list, but we don't allow you to add a whole domain to the trusted list and block list. In the unsubscribed list, you can check the links of all emails you have unsubscribed from. And finally, in the language filter, you can add the languages you want to allow or block, or even switch it off altogether. Apart from that, one of the important authentication methods you can use for your email address specifically is called SMIME. These secure or multipurpose internet mail extensions help you add another layer of security to your emails. SMIME protects your emails end to end and during transit as well. It encrypts your emails in full, allowing no space for a tamper. For SMIME to work, your recipient should also have configured the same with the SMIME certificate. You can purchase the certificate from any external provider who gives that in their services. Once you have the certificate, all you need to do is navigate to your Zoho Mail settings and go to Send Mail As. Once you navigate to Send Mail As, you will notice that there is Configure SMIME in the right hand side corner. Click that and simply add your certificate. And once done, you're good to go. If you don't see this option in your mailbox, please contact your administrator and ask them to configure it for you. So, how does this work? It works by the concept of asymmetric cryptography, where the sender has two keys, one public and one private key, and the recipient as well has two keys, one public and one private key. When the sender sends an email, they will encrypt it with the recipient's public key. Without the private key of the recipient, the email can't be opened. So, upon receiving the email, the recipient will use their private key and decrypt the content. It is as simple as that. And to not receive spam emails, make sure you protect your email address so that it does not end up in the wrong hands. One of the best ways to protect your email security is by having alias accounts. Zoho Mail allows you to create up to 30 alias accounts, so talk to your email administrator and get yourself one. In the fight against spam emails, there are 5 important steps that everybody need to follow. 1. Educate yourself, monitor, incorporate, communicate, and educate again. If you keep doing this, if you share what you have learned in any platform that you might have access to or even to a friend, then our email world will be a better place. Hope you enjoyed this session as much as I did conducting it. Tell us what other webinars you would like to see in the comment section, and we'll make sure to plan them in the future. Thank you for joining and have a great day.